Tonight on ABC News Live Prime, a possible tornado tears through Long Island.
It's a tornado.
The trail of destruction it left behind, and a state of emergency now issued as crews race to assess the damage. We're on the scene.
And I'm Morgan Norwood from Atlantic Beach, New York. Beach club chaos, a massive summer storm leaving behind this trail of destruction. Just ahead, we'll show you what emergency crews are up against. That's coming up.
The dramatic showdown of the experts in the Clancy trial. The question now facing the jury, did she suffer from something called postpartum psychosis when she killed her children? The defense has now rested what the prosecution is expected to say in response. What went wrong in Alaska? Civilian charter plane carrying 8 people to a remote military radar site crashing, leaving no survivors. And the new details now emerging. What was the critical mission they were on in one of the country's most challenging environments? Carrier name controversy.
It's very heart-wrenching. It's like almost like a stab in the heart for me to give it and then take it away.
Those growing questions, an aircraft carrier that the Navy was supposed to name after a Pearl Harbor hero, is it being changed to honor President Trump? What the family of that hero is saying tonight.
So I think it's a great disappointment. It's a letdown.
And where's the beef? Well, there could be a lot more of it coming into the United States. Why the president's move that could lower your grocery bill is angering some of his supporters.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is Prime with Lindsay Davis.
Good evening, all. I'm Jay O'Brien in for Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We do begin with deadly storms and widespread weather threats tonight, including these water spouts spotted on beaches around New York City.
This is insane. No, we might have to get downstairs, guys.
And on Long Island tonight, debris flying as onlookers ducked for cover. A confirmed tornado just outside New York City hitting a beach club there with 100 people inside. And in Dover, Delaware, another destructive twister ripped the roof off a motel. Dashcam video capturing that tornado as it tore across DuPont Highway there. And for the second weekend in a row now, Hawaii is bracing for the impacts of yet another tropical system on the heels of deadly Hurricane Lala. Tropical storm Moke is expected to bring gusty winds and more than a foot of rain to those islands. And with that rain comes life-threatening flooding and mudslides. Plus, we're tracking severe thunderstorm watches moving from the Midwest to the Carolinas at this hour. That forecast from Lee Goldberg coming in a moment, but we do want to get right to ABC's Morgan Norwood. Morgan.
Tonight, towering waterspouts storming beaches around New York City. A damaging tornado touching down in Delaware. Widespread destruction after deadly storms slammed the I-95 corridor.
Oh my God, it is.
In New York City, multiple waterspouts spotted off the coast of Queens and Long Island.
Everyone inside.
Terrified families watching debris fly as the waterspout comes ashore as a tornado.
Get inside.
That waterspout roaring ashore, sending dozens of people scrambling for cover as beach chairs, surfboards, even a massive roof went flying. These surveillance videos obtained by our station WABC show just how violent the storms were. Firefighters searching the wreckage for victims. Thankfully, no one was hurt.
Oh my God!
The storm slamming the Philadelphia area too. Watch this dash cam catch a confirmed tornado rip the roof off a motel as it crossed the DuPont Highway in Dover, Delaware. Cassidy Brewer was inside a second motel that was hit.
Honestly, I think it was one of the scariest situations I've ever been in.
The storm's turning deadly outside Norfolk, Virginia, after a man was struck by lightning on the beach in Cape Charles. And Jay, it really is a miracle that no one was hurt here. Tonight, a massive cleanup effort underway. You can see the piles and piles of debris after the first tornado to hit Nassau County in nearly 5 years, Jay.
Morgan, thank you. Meantime, in Northwest Indiana tonight, tens of thousands of people are still without power, some of them now filing a class action lawsuit against their utility company, Northern Indiana Public Service Company. The suit claims that that company did not properly manage vegetation in and around power lines. More than 30,000 customers in Gary and other nearby cities have been without power for more than a week now, and they are not expected to get it back until Tuesday. People there frustrated, understandably, and literally in the dark tonight.
I mean, this just shows that no one's immune. We have another empty refrigerator. I've got candles that I'll light up, and then some sensor lights that we use when we come inside the house.
The outages there began after severe storms earlier this month that killed at least 7 people. And for more on where all that weather is heading, let's get right to ABC's senior meteorologist Lee Goldberg. Lee, what are you tracking going into the weekend for us?
So, Jay, unfortunately, more flooding rains. We start out with the Carolinas after a rough start this weekend. You know, we had that confirmed tornado in the South Shore of Long Island, a quieter night and evening in the tri-state area. But look at all the heavy rain near Raleigh down to Myrtle Beach. We've got severe thunderstorm watch and flash flood watches. We had tornado-warned storms west of Raleigh and more heavy downpours from Baton Rouge over to Pensacola. There was a tornado-warned storm near Madison, Wisconsin, and Chicago and Peoria. Some strong storms this evening. So that low near the Carolinas offshore is going to give more heavy rainfall into Saturday morning over parts of the Delmarva. You see the elevated risk for flash flooding into southern New Jersey as well. I think the Delmarva is targeted a little bit more with rainfall rates up to 1 to 2 inches an hour. New York City area probably spared, even though there could be some showers around. Now to the Central Pacific. Second weekend in a row, it's tropical impacts in Hawaii after the big rains from Lala and the extensive flooding and damage. We've got more rain this time from Mocha. Now, this is going to be a weaker storm, a tropical storm that stays to the south, but still, any rain, all that saturated ground is going to mean flooding and potentially mudslides. We could get anywhere from 5 to 10 inches, even localized 15 inches of rain over parts of the Big Island, 1 to 3 inches over the rest of the island. So the Central Pacific remains very active, typical in El Nino season, so far quiet in the Atlantic. Jay?
Lee Goldberg for us. Lee, thank you. Also tonight, the U.S. Navy is weighing a controversial decision whether or not to rename a new American aircraft carrier after President Trump. Sources tell ABC News that the USS Doris Miller, which is still under construction, could be stripped of the name it was given in 2020 that honors a Black World War II hero. Here's ABC's Martha Raddatz.
He was the first African-American in history chosen to have a U.S. aircraft carrier named in his honor, a World War II hero named Doris Miller. But tonight, sources tell ABC News the Pentagon may soon strip that honor away in order to rename the ship after President Trump. Miller was a Navy cook aboard a battleship in Pearl Harbor in 1941 when the Japanese attacked.
The Japanese have attacked the Pearl Harbor.
He ran above deck and with no training, firing an anti-aircraft gun at the onslaught of Japanese warplanes, then carrying injured sailors off the sinking ship to save their lives. He was killed in action himself 2 years later. The first black man in the U.S. ever to receive the Navy Cross for valor. And in 2020, that new honor, an aircraft carrier with his name. His great niece telling us back then,
To have the USS Carrier named after him, our family is just absolutely speechless.
The team building the carrier proud to be part of the history.
My original connection with Doris Miller was the fact that he was someone that looked like me.
At the time, President Trump heralded the decision as well, but with a note of envy.
The next American aircraft carrier will bear the proud name of USS Doris Miller. That's pretty good. They won't give me that honor. That's a big boat. That's a big ship. All right, one day maybe, but in the meantime, you're right, one day maybe.
But that day may have come. Sources telling ABC News Navy officials are now weighing removing Miller's name from the ship and instead considering naming it for President Trump. No U.S. Navy vessel has ever been named for a sitting president. Miller's great niece said it would send a message to all black service members.
It's very heart-wrenching. It's like almost like a stab in the heart for me to give it and then take it away. And it kind of make you wonder, like, are we good enough? Are we equal?
And Martha Raddatz joining us now. Martha, has there been an official response from the Navy on this?
Well, Jay, we actually asked the White House, we asked the Pentagon, and we asked the Navy for an official response. We had no comment from them. Jay?
Martha Raddatz for us. Martha, thank you. The Supreme Court handing President Trump a victory today, allowing construction of his $400 million White House ballroom to resume. Let's get right to ABC's Rachel Scott, who's been following the details for us. Rachel?
Well, Jay, this is not the final word, but this is a temporary victory for President Trump. In a one-sentence order, Chief Justice John Roberts is allowing the construction on the ballroom to continue for now. A federal appeals panel had ordered that it must stop unless the president gets approval from Congress first. But this is essentially going to give the justices more time to make a final decision on whether or not it can move forward. But it is important to note here that construction has already been underway for about 10 months now. Crews have been working nonstop. The East Wing has already been demolished, and recent court filings tell us that at least 65% of the ballroom has already been completed. Tonight, President Trump is celebrating this decision, praising the high court for this temporary relief, saying that construction is moving forward ahead of schedule, Jay.
Rachel Scott for us tonight. Rachel, thank you. Speaking of the president, he is in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina tonight. You're looking at live images from that rally. He's rallying with Senator Darlene Graham in a Republican primary runoff that's going to test the power of the president's endorsement yet again. Remember, it was President Trump who encouraged Darlene Graham to run to replace her late brother, Senator Lindsey Graham, the president's close friend. But that primary is proving to be more challenging for Graham. She's only been a senator for just about a month and a half now. Joining me to break down all of this is my boss, ABC News Washington Bureau Chief Rick Klein. Rick, welcome into you. And you remember this, but some of our viewers at home may not. I want to play with you that moment in a debate from last weekend where Darlene Graham is asked about, or it's not last weekend, actually, it was just a few days ago. It feels like last weekend. Darlene Graham is asked about national security. She's asked about Taiwan. And here's what she says. Take a listen.
I'm not that informed on national security. National security is not my thing, not my area of expertise, but I do support the military.
I'm not that informed on national security from a sitting senator and the sister of Lindsey Graham, who someone made a career about national security. How is that playing out in this primary? Does it have the possibility of derailing her campaign?
I mean, that was the soundbite that has defined this runoff race. And the one debate that they had featured that Ralph Norman, the congressman, the veteran congressman from South Carolina, who's challenging her in that runoff, has made a lot out of that. Not to mock her, but to say, look, we need someone who is informed on these issues that can come in and speak knowledgeably about these things to represent South Carolina in the Senate, especially because it's Senator Lindsey Graham's old seat. So there's a lot to unpack in that, including whether anyone in Trump's circle has second thoughts about how quickly people rallied around Darlene Graham when they had other solidly pro-Trump MAGA Republican options to get behind, including Congressman Norman, who now does have the backing of a lot of other folks on the Republican side of the aisle.
I mean, the president bear hugged Darlene Graham. It was President Trump who encouraged her to run. It's really him who's elevated her to this position. But to your point about other Republicans, got Mark Sanford now, former governor there, Nikki Haley also backing Ralph Norman. Is there a potential here for a split in the Republican Party and an embarrassment for the president if Ralph Norman wins that runoff on Tuesday?
Yeah, and another level to this is that Senator Lindsey Graham was never that popular back in his home state. He always had tough primary challenges himself. He had to bear hug President Trump to stay in office. So Darlene Graham can inherit some of that, but not all of that. We're seeing kind of splintering in MAGA. This is not anti-MAGA. It's not anti-Trump, although Nikki Haley has sometimes come closer to that. This really is more, voters and leaders in that state saying we think we know better, and that's been happening in a few other states. If he loses that gamble, it won't be the only primary that he's lost after winning almost exclusively for months and months and months.
I want to quickly switch gears to a topic that's on the minds of a lot of voters. These midterms, the price of groceries. We saw the president temporarily suspend beef quotas to try to lower prices of them. That would be beef imports from overseas. That would hurt domestic beef suppliers. And we've already seen some Republicans speak out about this. For example, Tim Sheehy, Montana Republican. He said that he advised the president against this. Is this something that is going to maybe help the president and Republicans in the eyes of some voters, but also hurt them with some of their most fervent base in those red states?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at this just on a tactical level politically, people that raise beef live in a couple of places that are pretty red, but people that consume beef live everywhere. And if you're thinking about this, about prices, but it has been striking to see Republican senators, very loyal Republican senators, saying this is not what Republicans voted for, this is not what Trump voters voted for, and that people, yes, they want cheaper beef, they want to be able to afford groceries, but they don't want to do it by hurting the domestic cattle industry.
Is it interesting to you to see the president take overt action on the economy in that he's often not wanted to talk about the state of the economy? He's brushed off questions about the economy, and now you've got executive action out of the White House that's focused on grocery prices.
Yeah, and I think those actions are going to speak more loudly than the messaging events. You see, just today, we've got Vice President Vance in his home state of Ohio talking about how the economy is doing well. If people don't believe that and feel that and see that, then that's much more important. So if they're able to bring down prices by delaying some other actions or moving some other logistical hurdles around through the midterms, I think you'll see more of that from this White House.
Rick Klein, my boss, our Washington bureau chief. Thank you, sir. On a
Good
Friday
job,
night.
Jay.
Meantime, the defense rested today in the trial of Lindsay Clancy, the woman accused of killing her 3 children in 2023. It's become a battle of the experts there. The defense arguing that Clancy suffered from a unique mental health condition. Prosecutors saying that's just not true. Here's ABC's Perry Russum.
On day 18 of the Lindsay Clancy trial, a leading expert in postpartum disorders testified Clancy was in a, quote, dream state when she killed her 3 children at their home in Duxbury, Massachusetts. Forensic psychiatrist Philip Resnick says on that cold January night in 2023, Clancy, quote, did not have control of her own body.
It was almost like she was a puppet and someone else was pulling the strings.
Resnick telling the jury after his review of Clancy's records, he believes she was in the throes of postpartum psychosis.
At the time of the crime itself, on January 24, 2023, Ms. Clancy was frankly psychotic. So in that sense, she had a postpartum psychosis.
Resnick also testifying it appears her symptoms were genuine.
Was she faking, was she lying, or was she telling the truth? And
the results showed no evidence of faking.
Hold on.
According to court records, Clancy was prescribed more than a dozen different psychiatric drugs in the months before the killings. Clancy's attorney is trying to convince the jury she should not be held criminally responsible. Prosecutors say Clancy acted intentionally. Once the defense rested, prosecutors called up a few more witnesses to try to make their case. Jay, according to the judge, closing arguments in this case could happen as early as Monday. Then this case goes into the hands of the jury. Jay.
Perry Russum for us. Perry, thank you. We want to get more on this now with criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Bernarda Villalona. Bernarda, welcome into you on this Friday night. And as this case nears its end, in your expert opinion, from the twists and turns that you have seen, has the defense made its case to the jury?
I think the defense has definitely left some seed of doubt, of reasonable doubt for this jury. Of course, the defense doesn't have a burden. So even though they're bringing the defense that Lindsay Clancy suffered from postpartum psychosis, it doesn't mean that they have to disprove or actually prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she did. That's actually for the prosecution that has to disprove that she did not suffer from postpartum psychosis. So I think it's going to be a difficult case for the prosecution, being that the defense was able to get Lindsay Clancy's family members, including the mother-in-law and Patrick Clancy, to have sympathy for what Lindsay did, despite her taking the life away of those 3 kids. Plus, you have the documented history of her mental health issues in terms of her trying to find a solution to her mental health issues and seeking out help. And thirdly, because there were no signs at all or a desire of her to hurt her kids in the past, is going to be a tough pill for the prosecution.
Is there anything you would have done differently in presenting this defense?
The only thing I would have done differently would have been the expert doctor who testified today for the defense, and I believe that's the same doctor that may have testified in the Andrea Yates trial, is that I would have had that doctor come in and testify personally instead, as opposed to testifying via Zoom.
And the prosecution is presenting their rebuttal. We've got these dueling experts, right? The prosecution's expert is attempting to undercut this claim of psychosis. What do you make of that? Do you think that that argument has been effective with the jury?
The reality is, Jay, is that this case is going to come down to credibility. It's going to come down to the battle of the expert. It's going to come down to who this jury finds, number one, more credible, number two, that they can believe the testimony coming out of this doctor, and number three, of course, the doctor that made it plain and simple terms for this jury to understand what is postpartum psychosis, what is having postpartum depression, and the difference between the two. But it's going to come down to that understanding, because we heard from so many different medical doctors and experts in this case. In the end, it's what the jury is able to comprehend.
I want to show you something that's been getting a lot of reaction online. Hundreds of these so-called Lindsay Clancy supporters, many of them are in pink, and they've gathered outside that courthouse day in and day out. And many of the women there say that Lindsay Clancy's story has resonated with them. I want to play you what some of them have said, get your reaction to the precedent of this case on the back end. Here's that.
I honestly am disgraced by seeing it go this far. This is a well-documented case of Lindsay seeking help, cries for help.
And women have to be recognized. This postpartum depression and anxiety and psychosis have to be recognized and treated correctly.
What they have said, Bernarda, is that this case pulls back the curtain on how the mental health care system treats women. What sort of precedent do you see this case potentially setting given this psychosis argument?
Well, it's definitely bringing awareness to the issue. It's bringing awareness, and I wouldn't be surprised, Jay, if there are women that are now going through postpartum depression and are watching this case or have heard of this case, and they're asking themselves or asking their providers, am I going through a psychosis? So it's bringing attention in that regard. But I have to point out to you, Jay, you see how that young lady was like, I'm surprised that the prosecution is bringing this case forward. Look, it's an issue of fact, and when it comes to an issue of fact, that's for the jury ultimately to decide in terms of whether she was suffering postpartum psychosis, and that's why there is a trial that's going forward. The district attorney's office, the Commonwealth, could have agreed beforehand to be like, this case is not going to go to trial, and we'll agree to have her hospitalized as opposed to put her through a prison system.
Bernarda Villalona for us, as always, on a Friday night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Turning to Alaska tonight, where 8 people are dead following a plane crash in a remote part of that state. The plane went down in foggy conditions near a long-range military radar site. 2 of the people on board were employees of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And the questions tonight, what was their mission? Here's ABC's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, the U.S. military says 2 Army Corps of Engineers employees are among the 8 people dead after a small plane crashed near a remote radar site in western Alaska.
The wreckage is in an area of steep mountainous terrain, a ways from the airport. This is going to be a helicopter recovery.
The Army Corps of Engineers had chartered that plane from Security Aviation, headed to Cape Neuenham Long-Range Radar Site Airport, 450 miles west of Anchorage. Officials say around noon Thursday, the aircraft missed its initial approach and crashed on the second landing attempt. It was in the midst of foggy conditions so poor, responders say they initially struggled to locate the wreckage. The military says the people on board were performing a vital mission in a demanding environment. There were no survivors. The crash comes just a day after this fatal collision between a small plane and a state police helicopter in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. The NTSB now says investigators have recovered data cards from both aircraft, and that small plane was flying erratically before impact.
It was in a steep nose, pitched up attitude, then it temporarily leveled off, and for reasons unknown, flew off the right side of the runway and impacted the helicopter.
The plane's pilot, ER Dr. Paul Sokolowski, was killed, and 2 state troopers aboard the helicopter survived with injuries.
Still lots of mysteries in this crash. Why didn't the light aircraft continue on down the runway? Why did the light aircraft make a sudden veer towards the police helicopter at the last second?
Jay, the identities of those 8 people killed in that Alaska plane crash have not been released. The U.S. military is calling this a devastating loss. Jay?
Trevor, thank you. Overseas now, where a British judge today ordered Prince Harry and 6 others, including singer Elton John, to pay the publisher of the Daily Mail $13 million in a case they lost over alleged illegal news gathering practices. It comes as we learn more about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's decision to return to the UK after spending years here in the U.S. Here's Chief International Correspondent James Longman.
Tonight, a major financial blow for Prince Harry in his war against the British tabloids. A judge ordering the Prince and 6 fellow plaintiffs to pay an initial payment of $13 million after their failed lawsuit against the publisher of the Daily Mail. Harry, who once likened his battle against the press to slaying dragons, will have to share the cost with the others, including Sir Elton John and actress Liz Hurley, and they are expected to pay more. Here comes as speculation swells in Britain about why Prince Harry and Meghan are moving back to the UK, and opinion is divided.
I thought they were all for America and all against their family and things.
But tonight, word a potential acting role for Meghan could be in the cards. The Duchess is reportedly in early talks to join the cast of the Netflix show, The Gentleman, if it's greenlit for season 3. The family's security is top of mind for Harry as they make Britain their home. Once again, today the press warned not to release details of their new home or where Archie and Lilibet are enrolled in school. As a British taxpayer, would you be happy to pay for their security if they were not working royals?
You know, maybe his dad wants to chip in some of his private millions towards their safety.
Kerry telling me she just wants them to be safe.
They should just be left to kind of live their life. If they want to come back, they should come back. I think the fuss and the polarisation on TV and in the news and online is just potentially causing a dangerous situation.
And my friend James Longman joins me now. James, any word on when Prince Harry and his family would arrive in the UK, when they're expected?
Well, Jay, it's got to be soon because we're approaching the end of August. In Britain, the new school year for kids starts, I think, in the second week of September. They're going to want to get their kids settled properly. So I would imagine in the next couple of weeks at least. They're very, very careful, though, about security. They've warned the press today, do not reveal details about our new home. The school our kids are going to, they're remaining very tight-lipped about all of that. But Britain will want to know details about what they plan to do here. And I think anybody can find out about Meghan's new acting role, that will certainly have a lot of interest. Jay.
James Longman for us. James, thank you. And still ahead for us on this Friday night, the Mississippi Miracle. Our Steve Osunsami explores how this state turned around its reading scores. Plus, bear sightings are soaring. We look into why that is by the numbers and the punishment FIFA handed down to Argentinian football players after that massive brawl at the World Cup final. All of that coming up. You're looking at frightening moments earlier this month in a hotel in Breckenridge, Colorado, where a bear got into the lobby of the Grand Timber Lodge there. It appeared to ransack the snack bar near the check-in desk, taking M&Ms. Some officers were able to scare the bear off. You see their work there. No one was hurt. And that is just one of the record number of bear attacks and other bear encounters reported this year in just that one state. Tonight, we're going to take a look at the reasons why by the numbers. So far in 2026, Colorado Parks and Wildlife officials have responded to 6,129 bear sightings. Compare that to the same period last year and only 3,115 sightings. That's a 97% increase in bear activity year over year. And that increase could be because of this. In the late summer and the fall, bears spend up to 20 hours a day searching for food to prepare for their winter hibernation. But that food is now harder to come by. This year, low mountain snowpack, wildfires, and drought have reduced the bears' food supply, driving them into neighborhoods. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, 91% of the state of Colorado is in at least moderate drought, while 14% of that state is in exceptional drought, the highest possible category. And the problem isn't limited to just Colorado. In California, the South Lake Tahoe Police Department tells ABC News they've seen an 80% increase in bear-related calls this year. Experts say if you encounter a black bear, clap your hands, make noise to scare them away. They're probably just hungry. Still ahead for us tonight, a massive fire at a historic church, the stunning pictures coming in, and the Pennsylvania teen accused of murdering his girlfriend, the charges his mom is now facing. Next. Welcome back to Prime. Here's some other stories making headlines tonight. Multiple strikes on a shopping mall in central Ukraine have left 14 people dead and 121 injured, including 22 children. Many of those injured remain in serious condition. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called the attack cynical and despicable, describing it as a double-tap strike that targeted first responders as well. Officials say there are still several people missing. And a mother and son are facing charges in connection with the murder of a college freshman in Pennsylvania. Police say a young woman was found stabbed to death in the back of a Jeep. And they add that the son allegedly confessed to killing his girlfriend. And his mother, well, she is accused of trying to help him cover it up. In Cleveland, a historic church that dates back to the 1890s was destroyed by a massive fire. The pre-dawn blaze broke out at the Friendship Baptist Church. The church had been abandoned for years when the fire started. Thankfully, no one was injured. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. And a wedding crasher in Washington state tried to ruin a couple's big day. Cameras captured a Jeep taking off with Bluetooth speakers and gallons of blue booze from the venue. And it turns out the bride and groom and two of their guests are all in law enforcement. They recognized the Jeep, tracked it down, took everything back. No word on what happened to the driver. Still ahead for us, the popular music festival taking a break because of extreme weather, and also Mississippi's reading miracle, how the state drastically turned around its reading scores, what they did that you can do too. Next. Back now, Mississippi once had some of the lowest literacy rates in the country. Now, their students' reading scores beat many states like New York and California. Some are calling it the Mississippi Miracle. How did they turn it around? Here's our senior national correspondent, Steve Osinsami.
For so many years, when we've come to Mississippi on mornings like this, they haven't always enjoyed the story we've come to tell. How they often rank lower than nearly every other state when it comes to health care, the economy, or education.
Good morning, Madison Station. Today is Tuesday.
But on this proud day, the good word is that their children are getting a great report card.
All right, second syllable is gram. What's our vowel? A.
Today, students in the state's public schools, who used to have some of the nation's lowest literacy rates,
Is it closed in? No.
are now reading at a higher grade level than most other students across America, with higher scores than New York, California, and Illinois.
Right, London, page 2.
The children here, just outside Jackson, are just 6 years old.
The fog is too thick. She can't tell.
This isn't something that happened overnight.
No, the Mississippi Miracle, our education miracle, it hadn't been happening overnight. You know, it took really 12 to 14 years of some work.
They go to Meridian. Do y'all know where Meridian is?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Ellie Reeves is the mother of 2 young students and Mississippi's First Lady. She spent years traveling her state, reading to children, and encouraging her schools to produce better readers.
See, y'all are so talented.
They call it the Mississippi Miracle.
It truly is. In 2013, we were 49th in America in reading, and now we're number 9, which is crazy. 4th grade African American students are number 3 in math and reading, and then Hispanic students, 4th grade, are number 1 in math and number 2 in reading. I mean, that's amazing.
Across America, there is no one way that states are required to teach children how to read. But every year, American students in the 4th grade take a government test that measures their skills, the NAEP tests they're called. And 4th grade matters because studies show that kids who can't read at grade level by the start of 4th grade are 4 times more likely to drop out of school.
Good morning, girls. You ready for a wonderful day, Miss Thornhill? Good morning.
Principal Kara Davis at Madison Station Elementary School is one of those warm and meaningful educators who the kids truly love.
Are you ready for a wonderful day?
And says everything changed after state lawmakers passed a law in 2013 that sent literacy coaches to work with teachers in the classroom.
Amazing.
Today, nearly 60 of these specialists travel from school to school across the state.
There's been great resources. There's a huge investment in literacy trainings for our teachers across the state of Mississippi, which I can say 23 years later didn't happen when I entered this profession.
Amanda Malone is the state literacy director and explains that they also changed the way they teach children to read.
Tapping hand up. Tapping hand up.
No longer using pictures, and instead teaching them how to structure sounds with the letters they see.
Without
When I was trained to be a teacher, most of my training was through balanced literacy. It focuses a lot on cueing. I like to use the word guessing, looking at a picture and try to guess what's going on. Look at the beginning sound of a word and try to guess the word.
You see the word cow, and you see the C, but you are a child and you don't know, so you kind of, could it be car? Could it be?
That's an excellent example.
That's balance.
That's right. That's right.
What would structured be with the same example?
There is no guesswork in structured literacy.
A C is a S.
A C is a K or a S, right? When we look at parts of the word, then we know that those have explicit sounds.
I-N-G ring 8. I-N-G
The way we teach follows a system.
Now I'm seeing two letters that come together and make one sound.
It's cumulative. We go back and review and make sure that we are teaching kids to mastery.
Okay, we need to read and eliminate how many answers? Two.
It's a fundamental change in how we teach people to read and a return to the days when we were getting kids to read by getting them hooked on phonics, a teaching method that fell out of favor in the late 1990s.
Hooked on phonics worked for me.
So we have two different types of letters.
And it follows recent discoveries from scientists who study the brain. They've learned that unlike spoken language, reading is not a natural human skill. And for people to read well, they have to be taught to connect letters to sounds.
R.
It's how these first graders have no trouble at all reading this word for the first time. Back in 2013, the state also told parents that with very few exceptions,
Charlie, a verb is...
any third grade student who can't read at a high enough level would be held back from moving to the fourth grade.
How has that changed things?
It's higher accountability. And it's not just higher accountability for teachers, it's higher accountability for students. It's higher accountability for parents. And when we know that something is coming, then we have a better opportunity to prepare for it.
So take a look. In Mississippi, fourth grade reading scores keep going up, but across the country, they're falling, more than 3 points since the pandemic. And experts say that the nation's test scores from 2024 are particularly alarming. Only about a third of American fourth graders are reading at grade level.
You've heard from other states.
We have.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, if I see one of my friends lose a lot of weight, I'm going to go ask her, what are you doing? What are you doing? How's that working for you? And that's just what states have done. We get calls from state agencies. We'll get calls from specific districts. We get calls from board members. And we're very careful to remind them that we've been in this work for over a decade.
Didn't happen overnight.
It did not. And you know what? I like that. Because when you make those incremental moves forward, they're sustainable.
Like losing weight.
That's right.
Right?
That's exactly right. That's right.
What's that letter? E.
Since these changes, the mother of this kindergartner says that this little girl has had an easier time learning to read than her older sister.
I can see that my kindergartner has already shifted way faster than my older child.
It's all a proud moment for families who tell us they're tired of the rest of America looking down their noses at Mississippi, thinking that they can't read down here.
How many letters in the alphabet?
And they tell us this is more of a marathon than a miracle.
We're number 9, but we're aiming for number 1. And it takes pacing yourself. It's not just about a quick fix.
Keep up the good work, students. We are so proud of you.
And have a terrific Tuesday, everyone.
Steve Osunsami, thank you. And still ahead for us tonight, Walmart rolling back prices on thousands of items because of their tariff refund. The billions of dollars they're now committing to customer savings. And it's a very special birthday for the oldest living person in the world. See how many candles on her cake next. Back now, the punishment FIFA handed down to players in Argentina after they brawled with Spain at the World Cup, and why a father left his 7-year-old alone on Mount Fuji for hours, plus the raccoon sneaking baseball's best snacks. Those stories and more in tonight's rundown. The world's oldest living person turned 117 years old today. Ethel Caterham was born in the United Kingdom on August 21st, 1909. Back then, King Charles's great-great-grandfather, Edward VII, was king. Caterham was the world's oldest living person last year, too, and she now holds the Guinness World Record for the second year in a row. When asked previously about her secret to longevity, she said, quote, "I don't argue with anyone, and I do what I like." The World Cup final ended weeks ago, but for Argentina, the penalties keep coming. FIFA has announced sweeping sanctions against Argentina's national team and soccer federation over the scuffle in its loss to Spain. Midfielder Leandro Paredes was handed a 10-match ban, while teammate Nahuel Molina received a 7-match suspension. The Argentinian Football Association was hit with a $321,000 fine and will also have to play its next 2 home matches in half-full stadiums. Attention Walmart shoppers, some relief may finally be coming your way. Walmart announced it's putting its $2.9 billion tariff refund toward lowering prices. The retail giant says its customers are feeling squeezed, especially by high gas prices above $4 a gallon.
You can tell when fuel prices increase and got above $4, and perhaps there's a psychological impact to that there are choices that consumers are making.
A new poll finds 41% of Americans are concerned about being able to afford groceries over the next few months. That's up from 24% in April. A 48-year-old father from Japan was reprimanded by police for leaving his 7-year-old son alone on Mount Fuji while he continued his climb to the summit with his older child. While on the trail yesterday, the younger boy became tired about 8,000 feet above sea level. The father told the child to wait here and reportedly continued his climb. A mountain worker then found the 7-year-old sitting alone on a bench and brought him inside and contacted police. Police only reprimanded the dad, ordering him to return for his son. Sad news for festival goers. The iconic Bonnaroo Art and Music Festival, held in Manchester, Tennessee, will be taking a break next year due to extreme weather. According to the festival's social media post, the grounds on which that festival is held need time to recover after years of back-to-back storms. In the end, they say the break will make Bonnaroo better. And New York Mets fans haven't had much to enjoy this summer, but an unannounced appearance provided plenty of entertainment at Wednesday's game. Fans discarding their peanut shells noticed a paw grabbing at them from a hole in the stand. It turned out to be a hungry raccoon that never showed its face, and like most of the baseball fans there, this raccoon also enjoyed a foot-long frank, snatched up quickly from its hiding spot. We turn now to our weekly segment, TikTok, where we take a closer look at the story behind the sensation. Model, entrepreneur, and content creator Nicole Williams English is giving audiences a look inside her inner circle. She's one of the 6 women featured in Khloe Kardashian's new reality series, The Girls, on Hulu, and ABC's Will Gans sat down with her to talk about the show.
Nicole joins us in the studio. Welcome to the show. All right, so from modeling to building your own swimwear brand, you have built a career in the fashion world, but you're no stranger to reality TV. But this time you're putting your friends and your friendships front and center. What made you say yes to this project?
Oh my God, who wouldn't? I get to be with my friends all the time and do what I love to do. Obviously, I'm no stranger to reality TV because I did WAGs many, many moons ago. So I haven't been on TV, I think, over a decade now.
Wow.
Yeah. So when me, Natalie, and Olivia were like family, like we've been friends forever. And so they were staying with me during the fires in Los Angeles. And we were just like, together for a while every day. And so we were like, we need to get back on TV. Like all the WAGs fans are always like, we need to see you guys back on our screens. And we're like, well, how are we going to do this? And we bounced a few ideas back and forth. And then this one week I was out of town for a job and they text me, they're like, we're with Khloe right now, and we told her about like us wanting to get back on TV, and she thinks this is such a great idea, and so we should do something like with the girlfriend, like all of us, like girlfriends. And I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of great. And they were like, kind of like a Sex and the City, but like in LA. And I'm like, yes, I would love that. So if there's gonna be, if I'm gonna do reality TV again, I would love to do it with my friends and be comfortable and be vulnerable and just come back that way. So it's just perfect.
Like any reality show, there are girls' trips, launch parties, but also a little bit of drama too, ex-husbands, old wounds resurfacing. Yeah. Did working on this show change your approach to any of your real life friendships, or how did your friendships change because you were documenting them?
I think that like going into it, like I said, like me, Natalie, and Olivia have a very long history together. And then we're friends with the other girls as well, Malika, Khadijah, and Iris. It's just that we were not as close because we, our kids are friends and we go to kids' birthday parties and we go to events and we're launching businesses and we're going to support each other, where we've never been in a situation where we're taking trips solo together and staying in the same suite and like coming over to each other's houses and being together all the time like we were when we had to film. So I think that is, it has pros and cons, right? Because you're learning new things about each other. There's miscommunication within friendships, and you're learning like each other's like quirks and things that they don't like and things that you shouldn't say and tones of voice you shouldn't use around people, and like just little things. But I think that overall, that's how you become closer, because you learn more about each other, right?
Yeah.
And that's like how you become closer friends. So I think that was a benefit, although we had to go through things, you know, like some of the girls had like tension and there were some fights and not everything was very smooth, but you put 6 girls together that are not used to being together all the time, and this happens, you know?
So Khloe Kardashian is the executive producer of the show. She also narrates, so it sort of feels like a documentary series in some ways.
Yeah.
Did she offer any advice to you all prior to filming?
I think that overall, Khloe trusted us, and she's like, I know you guys, this is not your first rodeo. You've been through this before. I trust you. Just know that as your friend, I'm always here for you, first and foremost. Like, she is our executive producer, but she's also like our friend overall. So we knew that like if there was any bumps in the road or we felt a little uncomfortable or there was a fight amongst the girls, we knew that we could like text her. She probably got a few texts throughout filming. So yeah, but overall, like she's just like our girl. She's such a girl's girl and just so caring and loving and overprotective of us. So she just wanted to make sure we were all happy. And it was a great experience overall.
Nicole, thank you for joining us. Check her out on TikTok at JustTNick for a behind the scenes look. And The Girls, a Khloe Kardashian project, is streaming now with all 6 episodes on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Thanks so much.
Our thanks to Will and Nicole for that conversation. That is our show for this hour. I'm Jay O'Brien, in for Lindsay Davis. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more news, context, and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks for streaming with us.